What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and one of my biggest criticisms in this Kansas City Chiefs fans case, and one of the biggest criticisms that I've seen from you all in the comments below, and even the families' lawyers, the families of the three men who died, a couple of their lawyers have spoken out about this detail as well. My main criticism has been that from day one, very early on, within 24 hours, under 24 hours, law enforcement and investigators came out and said that this was 100% not a homicide investigation, and they were 100% not investigating this case in that manner. Now, that obviously put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths right from the get-go. From day one, when we learned about this story, now don't get me wrong, most of the world learned about this story a couple of weeks after it happened because this news was kind of on the down low. It took the families speaking out and reaching out and coming forward with accusations about Jordan and claims about this and that for this story to really catch on. But right from the get-go, it made people feel as if this case was not going to get the attention that it deserved. It made everyone feel right from the get-go, including the families, because it doesn't really matter how I feel at home or how you feel at home. What matters is how the families feel. And the families have been speaking out that they did not feel as if this case was being taken seriously. So right from the get-go, right from the jump, day one, everyone already had this feeling that this case was not going to be investigated thoroughly. Well, fast forward to today. And now, for the first time in this case, we're hearing from the KCPD. In fact, we're hearing from the Kansas City Police Department Captain Jake Bachina himself. And he is claiming that he and his department never said things in this manner. That the media has been misrepresenting what they actually said. So this is good news to me, because this means, maybe a homicide investigation is still a possibility. Maybe they are going to investigate this case from all angles in the way they should have from the beginning. But let's go ahead and see what this guy has to say. KCPD Captain Jake Bachina says that he never said the case wasn't a homicide. We said it was not being investigated as a homicide at the time because some media outlets were calling it a homicide investigation at the time. So that statement was to ensure that media outlets categorized it as what it was correctly. It was and remains a death investigation. That does not mean that if new or different evidence comes forward, that the course of the investigation cannot change. Investigations change course all of the time. I'm sorry for any disappointment. We aim to provide the most factual and transparent information to the public in any investigation. This case is no different. Well, I'm not trying to be overly critical here, but let's be honest. We've talked about plenty of cases on this channel. You've seen other people talk about plenty of cases on their channels. We've seen law enforcement and investigators be way more transparent than they have been in this case. I mean, it's February now. It's been a month since these people were found in the backyard. We're just now hearing from the captain of the KCPD. This is the first that we've really heard from the KCPD for this entire month. The only thing we've heard from them prior to this was when it was stated throughout every media outlet that's ever covered this story that the police said this was 100% not a homicide investigation and they're not investigating the case in that manner. That's what has been out there. They've had an entire month to come out and say, hey, that's not what we actually meant. They've had plenty of time to to clear things up, but they never did. Why now? Why are they changing their tune now? Have they found something that makes them think that this investigation is going to take a turn? Or is it just because of the public pressure? Or, like you said, have their words been misrepresented this entire time? I don't know. Because if you ask me, the way it looks as if they were going to let Jordan skate. If it wasn't for some of these families speaking up, and if it wasn't for us making our videos and talking about this case, I don't think we would still be here today. I don't think they would be thoroughly investigating this case. I don't think the families would have been given the answers that they've been given thus far. Because these reports that have come in, these are early reports. These are not even the final official reports. But they're giving the families tidbits of information now. Right? I know that currently they've been looking through these three men's phones. They've contacted two of the families, trying to find passwords and stuff to get into their social media accounts and to get into their phone just in general. So I don't know if they just finally got around to trying to set the record straight. I don't know if it's because of the heat and the pressure that has happened that has kind of forced their hand to come forward and try to clear things up. Or have they discovered something in these text messages, in these social media accounts? Have they found some fishy stuff that makes them feel as if, oh, we need to go ahead and get ahead of it and come out now and say, hey, we never said this wasn't a homicide investigation? Because I'm telling you right now, if something happens, if something's found, and this does turn into a homicide investigation, and it's announced that it's a homicide investigation, they're going to come under fire. A lot of people are going to be looking at them like, well, why did you drop the ball to begin with? Why weren't you on top of this to begin with? Because it's like a month out from this happening, and you're just now looking through phones. You left evidence and their belongings back at Jordan's house as if it was nothing. So I think that, there's a lot of moving parts to this story. There's obviously this level of secrecy that doesn't really need to be there, because if this is not a homicide investigation, if there are no suspects, if there are no people of interest, there's no need to really be as secretive with this information as they have been. You know what I mean? I understand if you're anticipating that you're going to make an arrest, you think that you have a suspect and you're on their heels, you think that you might have something to get them and you don't want to mess it up. But from the way it's been explained since day one, which now they're kind of changing their tune, it's almost as if, oh, that's not even in our thoughts, that we kind of ruled out that possibility. So if that possibility was ruled out from day one, they should have been more transparent with the family to begin with. But, they're saying, hey, we have no problem being transparent, but obviously you weren't telling these families anything, which is why they had to reach out for help, right? But, in the last interview that we saw from some of these family members, they said that law enforcement thinks there's something there, but they just don't have quite enough evidence or information to really make an arrest at the moment. So what is that something there? Is that something there? Is that what inspired them to come out and say, hey, we never said this wasn't a homicide investigation? All I'm saying is I'm not trying to read into things too much, but why finally, a month out after this case, finally come out and try to clear things up? I'm just wondering if they're trying to get ahead of a certain twist or turn this case may take, or if they're just trying to, they figured, hey, enough time has passed, we'll come out and try to save face now. I don't know. You let me know what you think down below, because it looks to me like I don't know. I don't expect there to be an arrest in this case. I really don't. I don't expect there to be much done at all. And even though we got these preliminary reports, it's going to be a while before the actual official reports come out. So it may be a while before we get any more answers. And it just doesn't seem to me like they're focused on making an arrest or anything like that. But I guess we're going to find out what they find out in these phones. My thing is, even if law enforcement figures out where these guys got this stuff, are they really going to go boots on the ground and try to go find the person and arrest them? I don't know. I'm not confident of that. Law enforcement hasn't given me any confidence within this first month of covering this case. But at the very least, we have this little tidbit of information they dropped today. So they say, hey, we're open to investigating this case in whichever manner, if the case takes it there. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can do so via CashApp. It comes to me directly. No one else gets a cut. My CashApp will be pinned in the comments below. You could also donate via Super Thanks. YouTube gets a cut of that. Also, you can help the channel for free by sharing, liking, subscribing, all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.